All right, let's see if it is working now. So, I hope I am live on YouTube. We shall see. I'm going to give it a minute. Now, so I hope I am live. All right. Hey guys. Sorry about that. So I don't do that many live streams, and I've never used the new version of the back end of YouTube to do a stream. And my stream key is different in the new administration panel or whatever in YouTube than it was in the old one. And anyway, it was just a headache for me to figure out which key was doing what, because I was streaming before now, and the streaming was actually working. I hit the start streaming button in OBS, and I'm streaming somewhere, but it was not to my YouTube channel. I don't know where that video was going, but somebody got some video. The only reason, I went to the new control center or whatever in YouTube to do this live stream is they're going to get rid of the old one eventually. I was like, you know what? I'm going to use the new one today. But it's weird the way they have it set up, because I have to put my stream key in OBS, then I hit the start streaming button in OBS. And before, that's all I needed to do. But now there's a third step I need to do. I need to go back to YouTube and hit a button in the control panel that says go live. And until I do that, I'm not really live. But the old way, I didn't have to go through all that. Hit start streaming is all you needed to do, and you were done. So, yeah, I was streaming to null. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody is doing well today. We probably lost some people with me, having my technical issues there. Getting a late start, obviously, about 10 minutes late. I'm surprised it took me that long to figure out that. But again, it's why I don't do these live streams that often. I do mostly pre-recorded content. So when I do live streams, I probably only do 1 or 2 a month. Seems like there's always an issue with live streams. Got my cup of coffee today. Yeah, today I was going to download the latest daily build of Ubuntu 20.04 Focal Fossa and play around with it, assuming that goes all right the way the stream has started out. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen today? We got a ton of people already in the YouTube chat. Thank you guys for showing up today. Yeah, stay away from the new control center. Yeah, Linus Tech Tips has complained about it a lot with regards to streaming. Yeah, it is unnecessarily complicated. I will say that. But this being the very first time I've ever used it, it is unnecessarily complicated. It absolutely. If it takes me 10 minutes to figure out how to start a stream, then your web page is poorly designed. And it's not just the streaming aspect of that new control center that's a real pain. There's some other things I don't like. I don't like how it displays YouTube comments now, in the back end. And it's slow. You can tell that they used a ton of JavaScript to get that stuff to work. Hey, how you doing, Big Pod? We were just talking about JavaScript, your favorite language. Huh. Excuse me, guys. Clearing off the desk here. All right. Why were you streaming to the dog's YouTube channel? Yeah? I don't have a dog. I do have a cat. One of these days, I'll show you guys the cat on a live stream. I just don't want to be accused of exploiting my cat on a live stream. It's the only reason I don't let him in this room while I'm streaming. You guys know those YouTubers that exploit their animals to get views. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, there is a huge buffer. Google just destruct customized. Yeah, whatever. I don't think JavaScript is a problem. Yeah, JavaScript's always the problem. All right, guys. Since we got a late start, let me go ahead and I'm going to create a VM here. So I already downloaded the ISO. ISO was pretty big. I want to say it was like 2 gigs. I can pull up the page real quick. Show you guys the browser page. Yeah, 2.6 gigs. Wow. What's the ISO size? So I already got the ISO, and I'm just going to create a quick VM here. So I'm just going to create a new VM in VirtualBox. I'm going to call it Ubuntu 20.04. It's already figured out that it's a Linux operating system, Ubuntu 64-bit. Yeah. I give the VM 4 gigs of RAM. Not sure how much space it needs. Considering the ISO is pretty big, let's give it plenty of room just to be on the safe side. I'll give it 25 gigs of space. That's certainly more than enough. And go ahead and create that VM. Then I'm going to go in the settings here. And let's see, in the system settings, I want to go to processor. I'm going to give it 2 threads of the 24 threads that I could use. I don't think I really need to play around with anything else here. Yeah, I'll leave the rest. Under display, give it all the video memory that we can give it here in the GUI. Only 128 megs of video memory. Typically, you just want to always max that out anyway. For the graphics controller, VMSVGA is the default. Yeah, I may leave that. We may change that if things are not working right. And then I need to add Focal Fossa. That's the name of the ISO. Audio, I'm going to do a null audio driver because I don't want there actually to be audio in the VM because it will conflict with me recording here on this live stream. Other than that, I'll get rid of some of the extra user interface stuff like the title bar and everything like that. So we get a nice clean window here for me to capture. All right, I'm going to go ahead and launch this. It's asking, did we not attach the ISO correctly? Let me make sure that's the right ISO. That was strange what it was asking me there. Focal, desktop, yeah, that's the right ISO. Okay. Just wanted to double check that, guys, before we get too far here. Back to the chat for a second. All right, yeah. Yeah, VirtualBox. Why not KVM? Because I use VirtualBox. Any VM is a VM. So, by the way, being a VM, I don't expect this thing to run great. Also, it's beta software, so I don't think Ubuntu these days actually puts out like an official beta. But since it's, not the release date yet, this is... Get rid of that window there. I don't know if you guys can hear the dog barking in the background. That's actually outside. Should we try Ubuntu without installing or install Ubuntu? DJ Ware's in the chat. How you doing, sir? Yeah, we're just playing around with Ubuntu. We're just actually getting started. I had actually planned to start this stream about 20 minutes ago, but we only started the stream really about 8 or 9 minutes ago because I had some issues with YouTube getting the stream started. Actually got some issues with this VM. This VM is not acting right. No, there it goes. The other thing is this VM. Why is it dimmed? Okay, there it goes. That's not a problem with Ubuntu. That was a problem with Xmonad. That window didn't have focus, and when the window doesn't have focus, it's dimmed. Probably should have picked a different window manager to do this in. Xmonad sometimes doesn't display these VMs that well. Should have logged into Qtile or to Awesome. All right, so we're going to do a normal installation today. So there is a minimal installation option, which installs a few less utilities, but I'll do the normal installation. We'll go ahead and download updates and install third-party software because why not? Let's continue. This is going to take a second. Yeah, as far as the chat, yeah, I've used KVM and Vert Manager, and yeah, I've used all that stuff before. VirtualBox, I've just used VirtualBox for forever. So, and it tends to work. So, all right, so erase disk and install Ubuntu, but I want to do the advanced features because I'm going to tick on this experimental feature. And let's go ahead and see what it does. Installing a ZFS file system. Excuse me. All right. So there's our partition scheme. All right. It looks like it's going to create ESP, swap, bpool, rpool. Okay. Didn't mention, any kind of recommended disk size or whatever. So the 25 gigs that I gave this VM is probably enough, though, I would think. That should be more than enough for like 99% of most distros you'll install. All right, we're going to create our username and password. Call my user DT, of course, and then we need to choose a strong and complicated password. And do we want to log in automatically? No, I want to be required to enter my password for privacy reasons. All right, we're going to let that run. That will probably take 5, maybe 10 minutes in this VM. Actually, with 2 threads of my Threadripper, shouldn't take that long, but it is going to go ahead and pull down those, we told it to update. All right, we'll let that run. Now let's see what's going on with you guys in the chat today. I see Alan Gomez. Alan Gomez is in the chat. How you doing, Alan? Yeah, normal install is bloat. Yeah, to be honest, if I was doing this like on one of my machines, I probably would do the minimal install, but I don't use the GNOME desktop environment either, so I probably would just do a server install of Ubuntu if I was doing this for myself. Because I can tell you, I would never use the GNOME desktop environment, so... or most of the GNOME utilities, I'd end up ripping everything out of it anyway, so for me it makes more sense to just start with the server installation. Could you try to drag files to the desktop after you install it? Try to drag file... You mean from the host machine to the VM? I didn't set anything like that up in this VM because... Yeah, it's not. This is not a VirtualBox tutorial today. I was just taking a quick look at Ubuntu. Yeah, so I didn't play around with shared folders or USB or anything like that in the VirtualBox settings. Maybe we should do a video about that one day, but. Now, what's your current Linux distro at the moment? Right now, I am on Arco Linux. I've been on Arco for a little while. So, yeah. Actually, if I go to my desktop, hopefully I don't crash anything here. This is my current desktop. Well, I have like 8 or 9 window managers installed on Arco, but Xmonad is the one I'm often in. If I'm not in Xmonad, usually I'm in Qtile. Every now and then I'll log into Awesome. Those 3 window managers are the 3 that I seem to use the most these days. But this is Xmonad. I like the really cool wallpaper. I found that on r/Unix porn the other day. And the colors fit perfect with my Xmobar because this was the colors I was already using. Like, fits with the Dracula color scheme, which I use in my Alacrity terminal. So if I do a quick ls, really like the wallpaper. So, really cool stuff. Get back to the chat. Yeah, nice wallpaper. Yep. I think I uploaded it to GitLab the other day. If you go to my GitLab and go to the wallpapers repository that I have on my GitLab, I think I put that wallpaper somewhere in that package. Of course, there's like 300 wallpapers in that GitLab repo of mine. And the reason I started that is because I used to get questions on all my videos. Hey, I like that wallpaper in that video. Where can I get it? Heck if I know where you could get it, you know, where I got it from originally, or heck, it may not even be on my system anymore because I'll delete wallpapers and, you know, download new ones. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start pushing everything to GitLab, all the wallpapers. That way you guys, if you ever ask me about a wallpaper on a video, at least going forward, hopefully it's in that repository. Yeah, ZFS is the latest meme. Is ZFS a meme? I guess maybe it's a meme on Linux. ZFS has been around for a long time, though, in the BSDs. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much default these days with the BSDs. It has been for many years, actually. The only reason Linux is a little slow adopting it is because of licensing reasons, legal reasons. If it wasn't for that, we would all have switched to ZFS, you know, years ago when the BSDs did. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for all those legal reasons, you know, and we would have switched to ZFS years ago, we probably wouldn't have even bothered trying to create ButterFS, which has been years in the making. It's a promising file system, but still isn't quite there yet. I'll be honest though, on all my machines, I just use Extend4, just because that's what I've been using forever. Why change? I know, you know, ButterFS and ZFS, you know, they've got the snapshots and stuff like that, but I don't know. I have backups too. Like if you're one of those people that back up your data anyway, you know, if I got all my important documents backed up, I got all my dot files pushed to my GitLab, I don't worry about a complete failure of my system, maybe as much as some people. And I do apologize about the stream. I know the stream is buffering a little bit because we're running this installation. This installation is going to suck up a little CPU, and the installation, because it's going to download some updates, especially is going to suck up a little bit of the internet. And that's going to cause the stream to buffer. So, all right, well, the perfect timing. Installation is complete. And let's see, if I restart now, will it automatically detach the ISO, or do I need to go manually do it? On most distros, I actually have to kill the VM and then go back into the VirtualBox settings and remove the ISO, but sometimes Ubuntu's smart enough, it does it on its own. But again, this is not an official release, this is just a daily build. Yeah, somebody is saying DT is not a gamer. Well, not really, yeah. The last time I gamed was about 2 months ago. I did a live stream where we played Xenotic on a live stream. That was the last time I gamed. The next time you guys see me game on a live stream, that will probably be the next time I game. So, yeah, and obviously the VM either couldn't detach the ISO or something's going on. So I'm going to run a quick xkill here and kill that VM. Go back into the settings here. Let's make sure. No, the ISO was detached just fine. So Ubuntu did automatically detach the ISO, but for whatever reason, yeah, I guess it couldn't reboot. Maybe it was a problem with systemd running a stop job or something. You never know. It is weird I'm getting that VirtualBox pop-up when I start the VM, though. It's asking what ISO to attach. But why is it asking me about an ISO to attach when I have a hard drive and we just installed an operating system to that virtual hard drive? That's weird. That's not a normal message for VirtualBox. You know, somebody that's installed a lot of VMs over the years. I'm kind of concerned about that message. But again, it's beta software, right? So All right, well, we got to a login manager. Apparently it installed just fine. And of course, being GNOME, you want, Ubuntu on Xorg or Ubuntu on Wayland. At least in this VM, Xorg is definitely going to be your best bet. On physical hardware, Xorg is probably going to be your best bet. Especially if you're an NVIDIA user. Yeah, just... Alright, so the resolution is a little small. Let's see what we can do about that. So the first thing I'm going to do is see if we can go to the GNOME display settings here and see what they offer for resolutions. 1920 by 1080 would be great because it would be my actual monitor resolution, but it's not here, so I'll pick something just slightly smaller, 1680 by 1050. Let's hit apply. Keep settings. All right. Kill that. All right. Yeah, and that works. Now, we'll take a look at our freshly installed Ubuntu 20.04 in just a second. Back to the chat for a minute. Yes, this VirtualBox 6.1, I'm on Arch. I mean, essentially Arco Linux. So whatever the absolute latest release of VirtualBox is, yeah, I would be on it. If I go to help and about VirtualBox, yeah, VirtualBox 6.1. Yeah. Yeah, the great thing about running a rolling release, especially a really bleeding edge rolling release like Arch, is I'm always going to be on that latest version, so I never have to wonder if I'm on it. Like whatever the kernel is that just came out, I'm on it. Matter of fact, I could look real quick. You guys are probably as interested in it as me. Especially you guys that don't run Arch. Yeah, so zoom in. 5.5.7, very recent kernel here on Arco. Yo, DT, any plan on taking a look at the latest release of Makulu? I doubt it. I don't review that many distros these days. It's not something that interests me that much. I'm taking a look at Ubuntu 20.04 because it's an important release, obviously. And I haven't done one of these kinds of videos in a while. But no, don't expect me to look at Makulu. Don't rule anything out, but I try to take a look at one or two distros a month these days, just because I know some of you guys like these. It's not the most enjoyable videos for me, though. Mainly because none of this stuff matters to me as far as the kind of Linux user I am. Like, I'm going to check out the latest version of Makulu, and it's going to have this pretty desktop environment and all this customization and wallpapers and various programs that they went out of their way to pre-install. And for me, if I ran it, I would literally wipe all that stuff away. And that's what I do with every distro. That's why it makes more sense for me to either install a server distro or a really minimal distro like Arch or Gentoo if I felt like compiling everything from source. Or, I don't mind pre-configured distros. Ubuntu is pretty minimal out of the box. Not just Ubuntu, but all their main flavors. But like a really, really bloated distro, like something like OpenSUSE, which has got a ton of stuff installed by default. That's not... I would spend more time ripping out a lot of the stuff that comes installed on a distro like that, So I'm a different kind of Linux user than a lot of you guys. That's why I don't do a lot of this kind of stuff. That's why when I say it doesn't interest me, I'm not kidding. It's like I find this stuff almost pointless, to be honest. Almost. Now, I like getting a little more under the hood, other than just what's on the desktop. I see Mr. Alan Pope is in the chat. How you doing, Alan? All right, well, let's take a look at now that we got this installed here. Let's see, we have our online accounts. Now, this, of course, would be to connect your online accounts. I'm not going to do any connecting to my online accounts here on this video. If I wanted to, though, I do have a Nextcloud server that I keep, and I have, my own Nextcloud, but I'm not going to connect to that, so I'll skip that. But that's really nice that they include that feature. I like that. Do we want to set up the live patching? So, reading a little bit here, Canonical Live Patch helps keep your computer secure by applying some updates that would normally require restarting. So this is basically, it's installing these updates where you don't really have to reboot your machine. So there is a legal notice, or we could just click Set Up Live Patch. Even though this is a VM, and I don't plan on keeping this VM, let's just see how complicated it would be to set this up. To use Live Patch, you need an Ubuntu 1 account. Well, I'll cancel. I don't have an Ubuntu 1 account, but it looks like it's pretty simple. If you have one of the Ubuntu 1, single sign-on accounts, then I'm sure all you need to do is enter your credentials in that, and you're good to go. Let's see, help improve Ubuntu. So this is some of the telemetry stuff. Do we want to send information back to Canonical? I'm fine with that. This is just information about your system specs, just so they know what users of their operating system, what most people are using as far as monitor resolution, CPU, how much RAM most of their, they want to know what you guys are running, basically. Privacy. So this is some of the location services. So this allows applications to determine your geolocation. Typically, I would keep all of that stuff off. I don't like anything asking about geolocation. Looks like it's turned off anyway. So yeah, I would just keep that ticked off. For me, it's just, and that's a personal choice. Now, some of the software. So this is stuff that didn't come pre-installed on Ubuntu, because again, it's kind of a minimal distribution, Ubuntu. It doesn't install that many programs out of the box. So here's some popular stuff that most people probably won't. I can tell you, I would definitely, me personally, I got to have VLC. I got to have GIMP. Some proprietary software that obviously isn't installed by default. You can get Discord and Spotify. Skype is here. People still use Skype. I don't know. Sublime Text is here. I know a lot of people love that text editor. I don't know why when Vim and Emacs exist, but yeah, I'll skip all that for now. Then we have the software updater. Do we want to go ahead and install the updates? You know what? I'm not going to do that on a live stream because that's going to suck up the bandwidth, the internet, and it's going to cause the stream to buffer in a big way. But this is a daily build. I can't imagine that there are that many updates available. I'm going to get back to the chat for a second. Yeah, Alan, he says, yeah, 390 people watching, only 59 thumbs up. Really? What's wrong with you people? I agree with Alan. Thumbs up the video. Although I can understand why they might not want to thumbs up this stream today, Alan, since you're just getting here. I scheduled this stream at the top of the hour, and I was actually 10 minutes late starting the stream. I was here on time, but I was having some issues with YouTube, actually. Getting my stream keys to work. It took me 10 minutes after the start of the stream to really start streaming. So I know a lot of people were probably here, right at 3 p.m. my time, and probably waited around a few minutes. Especially 10 minutes, that's a long time to wait. I'm sure some people were like, man, this dude, he ain't streaming today. Well, no, I got it to work. It just took us a minute. So. And also, the UI will look oversized if not running at the native resolution monitor, yeah? Somebody in the chat, Equity, he says he prefers KDE, it's light, and reminds him of Windows 10. That is interesting. I mean, yeah, KDE kind of reminds you of Windows, I guess. But is that what you're looking for? Is Windows 10 out of your Linux? Yeah, view count is bloated. Absolutely. Actually, views matter a lot in YouTube. Subscriber count's bloated. Yeah, but views, yeah, you want all the views you can get. Yeah, keep the views coming, guys. Thank you. Can you swap out GNOME with Unity? Hey, that's not a bad idea. Since it's a VM, why not? But let's take a look at what we have here real quick. I just want to take a look. Again, it's Ubuntu being, a little more minimal. It doesn't install everything in the kitchen sink. Obviously, you have your Firefox browser, and this should be the latest Firefox. I would expect it to be, being the daily build here. See how long it takes to boot up that first time. Took a little longer than I expected, really, for that to... Let's see. Where is the about information for Firefox? There it is, under help. 74.0. Okay, yeah. Close that out. Now, of course, don't judge performance here because this is a VM, and I really didn't play with the VM that much. I don't know as far as the graphics controller, if we're using the best one. It does seem to be responsive, though. It looked like Firefox took a minute to load up, but everything seems to be working just well. I mean, for a VM, this is pretty snappy, actually. That's not bad. Of course, this is the file manager. That's Nautilus there. And we have LibreOffice Calc, Draw, Impress, and Writer. I think that's a smart move to include those. I have a couple of games, typical stuff that's been there for years. Mahjong and Mines. I love Mines. Mines is great. If you guys have never played Mines, you basically click a square, and then the squares that have numbers in it tell you how many mines they are touching. So this one that says 1, it's only touching one square that hasn't been opened, so you know that's a mine. So right-click on it to flag it as a mine, so you know it's a mine. This one has a 1 next to it, and you know that's a mine, so this one can't be a mine. So click that. And that's a 1, so you know all of these can't be mines. Anyway, it's a nice little game. I know it's a simple game, but it's pretty cool that they include these little games. Mahjong is also great. We have some power statistics, Remina for remote desktop, of course, Rhythmbox for our audio player. Rhythmbox is really nice. As far as the GNOME suite of applications, Rhythmbox is pretty fantastic for an audio player. I really can't complain about Rhythmbox. If it's pre-installed on a distro, I typically just leave it. I'll use it. Now, if I'm installing my own audio player, I typically go a little more minimal. I'll install Deadbeef. You guys know, for a graphical audio player, Deadbeef is typically what I do. And CMUS if I'm doing something in the terminal. We have settings. That's of course, the control panel, basically. And this has all our system settings, such as background, which we should actually check out. I like that. It's pretty cool wallpaper there. Not bad. Most of these I've seen before. I don't think this is a new wallpaper pack. Maybe Alan can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've seen all of these wallpapers in 1910. Pretty sure, yeah. I know I've seen that one in 1910. Yeah, because that looks exactly like I have a VM, actually, of Ubuntu 1910, and that wallpaper for sure was in that one. Yeah, in the chat for a second. Yeah. Yeah, CMUS, absolutely, James. Eric is saying Rhythmbox is the only player that sees his remote NAS sharing without extra steps of mounting stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Rhythmbox is pretty fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. Most of the other GNOME programs I wouldn't use, but really like Rhythmbox. Transmission for the BitTorrent client. Transmission's great too. I mean, there's other BitTorrent clients out there, but Transmission's pretty fantastic. The great thing about Transmission is it has a command line interface and the traditional GUI. And the command line interface to Transmission's pretty nice. Yeah, 20.04 will have a new default wallpaper. I hope so. Obviously, we didn't have the any of the Fossas, whatever the heck a Fossa is. I'm not really sure. Sudoku is also here. Gedit, of course, is our text editor, our plain text editor. Gedit's pretty nice, actually, for a rather simple text editor, but there's plugins for it. Like it's somewhat extensible. It's not extensible to the point of something like Vim, obviously, but it's not bad. Thunderbird is our email client. And I actually do use a desktop email client, and I've been a Thunderbird user since the start of Mozilla. So I actually really like Thunderbird. There's not too many email clients on Linux that I think are worth using. If I'm being completely honest, Thunderbird is definitely the best out there. Geary. You guys know the Geary email client. It's okay. I can use it. That's about it. That's the only two I would even consider using. But Thunderbird, yes. Obviously the gold standard there. We mentioned transmission for the BitTorrent client is here. We have a utility kind of subcategory here with our archive manager, the GNOME archive manager. What is that? File roller. We have our backup utility. You guys know DistroTube. If you've ever used Ubuntu ever, it's been one of the standard utilities they use. Says no recent backups, no backup scheduled. We could schedule one. Of course, we're never going to use it because, again, this VM, I don't plan on keeping it. But you got to enter your sudo password. So give it root privileges and click go forward. It's creating the first backup. This may take a while. Yada, yada, yada. I have no idea how long this is going to take, actually. It's been a long time since I've played with DistroTube. Okay, the backup is completed. Okay. I was hoping that wouldn't take too long. Might have got into something I shouldn't have started there. Also under our utilities, we have disk usage analyzer, a lot of the system stuff, our screenshot utility, the system monitor, of course the terminal. We're going to play with the terminal a minute, but let's see if I can zoom in. Oh, I like that. At least the GNOME terminal makes it really simple to zoom in. So if I do a quick uname -r, the kernel is 5.4, pretty recent kernel because here on Arch we're on 5.5.7. So 5.4, pretty recent. It's htop installed by default on Ubuntu. It is not, but you can sudo apt install htop or sudo snap install htop. That is interesting. I don't know why I would want to install it in a container, a snap pack. So I would I just install it from the repository. Give that a second. Okay. If I can type here. htop here. All right. Now, it's not really using any CPU, but we're not doing anything that should be using up any CPU. It's interesting, the RAM. I gave this machine 4 gigs of RAM. It's using 2.7 gigs of RAM. Now, that's probably because we did the ZFS install. So that's probably not an outrageous amount of RAM. It's just, that RAM is available. It's trying to use it. It's trying to make efficient use of all that RAM that I gave this VM. Back to the chat for a second. Let me get some of my coffee. I feel like I need it today. If I could just inject caffeine with a needle, I drink so much coffee, during the day. Probably 3 or 4 cups every day. Usually 2 cups in the morning, 1 or 2 cups in the afternoon. So yes, try the Strawberry music player. I haven't tried Strawberry. I don't need much out of a music player, me personally. Peter Jansen says, terminal zoom using Control+, Control-. Yeah, that's actually what most terminal emulators typically use. That's really what most programs, especially CLI programs or Ncurses programs, typically, if you're not sure how to zoom in and out, but that program supports zooming in and out, I would always start with Control plus and Control minus for in and out. If that doesn't work, try Control Shift plus and minus. Yeah, Arch Linux Coffee, win, yeah. Yeah, injecting caffeine is not nice. Been there, done that. Okay. Yeah, I'm drinking beer for a similar reason. Yeah, but I have a rule. I won't drink beer until in the evening because I got work to do. If I drink one beer, it brings you down to where you don't want to do anything. You just kind of get lazy, at least for me. You know? If I drink beer early in the day, I know I'm not going to do anything the rest of the day. So, and because of that, I don't ever drink during the day. Back to the VM here. Let's do a is it snap list? Let's see what the snap packages that are installed by default. Actually, really nothing. The snap store. That's interesting. So if we tried to launch the snap store, it's going to complain about permission denied. Of course, I should just launch that with the proper way. I'm so used to just doing everything in the terminal. I'm not used to having a desktop environment in front of me. It's weird. Yeah. I'm wanting to hit key bindings. You know, I'm hitting key bindings that should work, you know, in my Xmonad, you know, on my host machine. And nothing's happening here. Let's open up the Snap Store here. See how it looks. Yeah, Big Pod referring to, yeah, don't drink beer until the evening. He says it's evening somewhere, though. That's true. All right, yeah, the Snap Store, which is basically just the GNOME software. It's just been, set up to where it's showing you everything that is available on snapcraft.io. So what are some things I know that are available as snaps that I often install? I know Xonotic, it has a snap. So how do I go about searching? I'm assuming that right there, hit the little search button. I'm not going to install Xonotic in this VM. It's a pretty large download, but anyway, I could just click on it, click install, away I go, I'm assuming. Again, it's a big download, it'd take forever, and it would make the stream buffer badly, but that was the Snap Store. Alright, is that different than just your standard software? Yeah, so this is the Software Center here. It looks very similar. It has the same kind of heading, the same advertisement for Android Studio. Are the snaps also here? I would assume they probably are, but I don't know. And we could still search for Xonotic here. We're also getting a update notice here that we could update GNOME 3.34, and typically you would want to do that. I'm not going to bother here in this VM. One thing somebody did ask me about, let me get back to a terminal. Control-Alt-T typically brings up a terminal in Ubuntu. If I have focus on that window. There we go. What is the Unity package if we wanted to try Unity in 20.04? Is it Unity-Desktop? I'm sure somebody will tell me here in a minute, but let's just... No. Is it just Unity? Oh, Lord. That's going to be a big... yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that was the right package or not. Oh no, it's installing Nemo. INXI. That's interesting. It's installing that. Yeah, it's Metacity and some Ruby stuff. Oh, okay. Ubuntu Unity Desktop. Okay. So that wasn't the right package. Well, let's see if we can... Oh, come on. Stop that, please. And we may just have to go ahead and go with this install. But I'll install the right package. I was wondering why it was installing some of this stuff. I installed a Unity session. That's weird. Let me log out and see if there's actually a Unity session there now. Oh, if I click on my username and go down to the little cog area, there is a Unity session. Let's see if it actually works. Okay, well, there is Unity. We need to play with the screen resolution here. So, well, there's nothing coming up for... There's actually nothing here. Yeah, so I probably should have installed the other package. But Unity works. Would that actually launch Firefox? Yeah. I'm sure if I'd installed the right package, the lens here where you actually search for your applications would probably work. We're missing some stuff. Let's see if that key binding Control-Alt-T works. Yep. Brings up a very ugly terminal, but let's sudo apt install. And what was it again? Unity, Ubuntu Unity? Ubuntu Unity Desktop, I think somebody said in the chat. Oh yeah, and it's another really big download. So again, the stream is going to buffer for a second. Yeah, fix the resolution. I will, but there's nothing to see right now. Don't worry about it. We're going to fix that resolution in just a second. All right. Uh-oh. I was going to look at the chat, but I'm getting a warning here. Display Manager is a program. Yeah, okay, yeah. Do we want to... We already have GDM installed because we had GNOME here, so it's probably what we should just go with. Obviously, if we didn't already have GNOME on the system and GDM on the system, LightDM would probably be the better way to go there. Let's see if we can open up a new tab here. I'm going to do a XR and R. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do xrender space -s space, and then let's pick a resolution here. I think the last time I did 1680 by 1050, that looked pretty good. There we go. All right. Back to the chat for a second. Yeah, audio continued, but video was lost for a while, yeah. Well, like I said, because of this, it's a big download, and we're still only about 40% through. That's why I don't typically like installing updates when I do these live streams. But this was interesting, seeing if the Unity desktop works. You know, it's pretty interesting, so we'll just have to bear with it for probably about 2-3 more minutes. So I do apologize. I know the video, the stream will buffer because of this. Because the apt package manager is sucking up all the internet, trying to install Unity for us. All right. Yeah, Peter says LightDM is getting problematic. I use it every day on my Arco Linux. I've never had a problem with LightDM. That's what's problematic with it. But I mean, I guess you could. There's plenty of display managers out there to choose from. If LightDM for some reason was broken for you. And of course, you don't necessarily have to use a login manager at all. You could always just start X. Use your Xinit or whatever it is you want to do to get your window manager or desktop environment to start for you. Obviously, if you have multiple desktops, like on my Arco Linux, I mentioned I have about 8 or 9 window managers on my system. Yeah, that's why I have a login manager. If I didn't have LightDM, you know, to choose between all the window managers, yeah, it'd be a pain. And many people had issues running Arco Linux after installing it. They use LightDM. Yeah, I haven't had any issues on mine, but I've had this up and running for about 9-10 months now. So it's probably people that installed Arco recently. I had no issues at all with mine, so. All right, so that install went well, so let it log out and we'll log back in. And make sure Unity is still selected here. And I knew I was going to have to log out and log back in. That's why I was waiting to run that xrandr command. There we go. Ooh. Is it going to fix itself? There we go. All right. Yeah, let's see if that fixed. Yeah, now I could have actually found the display settings probably if I typed it right. Yeah, displays. And of course, this would get me everything that I got in the terminal with xrandr. Just in a graphical way, but it's the same. I know a lot of, especially newer to Linux users, especially those that fear the command line, you do realize that most everything you're doing in these graphical programs, like if I, right click on this and decide to remove, delete this folder or whatever, that's just a graphical front end to a command line. So, we have an internal error. Yeah, me deleting that folder through the GUI is just the same as pulling up a terminal and doing a RM, a remove command. They're just giving you a point and click way to do it instead of typing, but it's doing the exact same thing. A lot of times, though, the command line is easier and a lot of times quicker to do a lot of the stuff. I know some people probably shake their head when I say stuff like that, but a lot of times it is. A lot of your file management stuff, especially, is a lot easier usually if you're already in the terminal. Yeah, VMs crashing straight out for me last night without even touching them. Yeah, you were taking a look at the daily build of Ubuntu there, Vince, I'm assuming. He said he was having some problems in the VM. This VM seems to be working okay. Now, obviously, Unity here. I don't know. Unity's working that great, but GNOME looked fine. GNOME with Xorg in the VM looked just fine. Well, this is kind of cool. You got bpool, rpool. This is your ZFS stuff here. Shows up here in Unity. Unity was a great desktop environment, too. I'm not certain that I wouldn't install 20.04 maybe on one of my laptops and put Unity on it. I could run Unity. Like if I was going to run a full desktop environment, yeah, I could do Unity. Let me open the GNOME terminal again. Notice, is this the GNOME terminal? It's got a different kind of color scheme than, yeah, GNOME terminal 3.35, yeah. Doesn't this GNOME terminal look completely different than it looked in the GNOME session? Here in the Unity session, this is... Anyway, if I do an apt space list space -- installed, of course, it's going to give me all the packages, but really what I wanted to do is get a count. 1968. So that is... Basically, you just take a command and pipe it into wc space -l here. What that does is it gets you a line count of this command you just ran. So it tells me how many lines were printed out. So essentially, there's 1,968 packages installed on this system. For those that wanted to know. And Peter says he never used Unity. Yeah. Now I'm curious about what the fuss is about. Yeah, Unity was great because in a lot of ways it got everything right as far as aesthetics and really as far as if you were worried about carpal tunnel, repetitive stress injuries, because everything is right here in this corner in Unity. You see how you have your global menu. Of course, the dash is right here. All of this could be accessed, by the way, with key bindings, but if you wanted to use your mouse is pretty much always here. You maximize something, watch what happens to the window decorations. They're right here. Everything is right here. Where on most of your typical desktop environments, your window decorations are now over here, so you're accessing your menu here, and then I want to close this. I got to drag my mouse all the way over here, and why? Why? Put all that stuff on the left-hand side. When Ubuntu first moved the window decorations to the left-hand side, that was, 8-10 years ago? And people threw a fit about it because I'm used to Windows. My window decorations have always been on the right side. But nobody thought about why they did it. Right? All they wanted, you're just changing stuff. I'm so used to, you're changing stuff for sake of change. But it makes so much sense. Like it literally, there's no reason why you want to have to go over here to close anything. You're over here for everything. When you open your web browser, where is the forward and back buttons? They're also over here. Everything, you never need to go to the right-hand side of the screen for anything. And I think anybody that designs a UI should focus on stuff like that. Don't make me have to travel to the top of the screen for some stuff and then down to the bottom. Don't put my global menu here and then put a dock in the center of the bottom of the screen, Mac OS and elementary OS. Because now you're traveling top, bottom. I'm constantly moving the mouse and my wrist hurts. And then left hand dock and then the right hand for scroll bars and the close buttons. And just put everything right here. And the fact that it was all keyboard driven, if I hit the super key, I get all of this up. And I could type for anything, if I wanted to. I'd just type term and hit enter, and the terminal's here. And I'm not sure how my key bindings are going to conflict with the Unity key bindings. Yeah, they're not going to work. All those Z's are actually my control key. But it had great key bindings where you could place windows in different quadrants of the screen. It still does. It's just in this VM, I can't quite control it right. But yeah, Unity was fantastic. If you are a window manager kind of guy and you like having that kind of control over, and you like key bindings, if you're keyboard centric especially, Unity makes a ton of sense because you could really operate pretty much everything in Unity with the keyboard. But if you're a point click kind of person, I think Unity makes even more sense because of just where everything was on the screen, right? It was just all right here. Everything's on the left-hand side of the screen, but most of the action takes place right here in that left corner. And again, I think when they made a lot of those, when Unity came out, everybody hated it. Everybody hated it. And the very first version of Ubuntu that came out with Unity was 11.04, and I started testing the alpha version of Ubuntu 11.04 when it came out. I put it on one of my test machines and I ran it throughout the entire development cycle, and it was buggy as hell. I had to reinstall several times. I mean, it was serious alpha software. Even when it got to the release, when they released 11.04, it wasn't stable, right? It was one of the buggiest releases Ubuntu's probably ever put out. But I understood exactly, like until you actually used it, because people complained about Unity before they even used it. But once you used it, it's like, oh, I get why I get why all of this is right here. Like it made total sense to me. Like I realized somebody put serious thought in that. This wasn't just some random thing somebody just put together, right? A lot of serious thought and probably some testing went into this as far as sitting people down in front of the computer and, hey, can you use this? What do you think? Yeah, GNU Ninja says, yeah, I didn't hate Unity. Yeah. Yeah, I wish, I'm sure it's still somebody's developing it, but yeah, I wish it saw more development than what it's seeing these days. Because in a lot of ways, yeah, Unity was it was definitely better than those early versions of GNOME 3, which is why Nobody really wanted to switch to GNOME 3 in those first few versions of GNOME 3. That's really what caused Unity to come into existence, and Cinnamon and Mate and later Budgie and Pantheon is nobody really wanted to use GNOME 3. So we did get a bunch of new desktop environments out of it. So, yeah, so Jeff says Unity, they knew what they wanted, they just were not sure how it should be done. Yeah. Yeah, they're still developing it, but it's under a new name, so it's not called Unity anymore. Yeah. Since Canonical, I guess, is not involved with it, yeah, probably another organization has it. Maybe they needed to change the name. Typically, when you fork a project, you need to change the name of it. All right. Well, that was about all I had planned as far as I just wanted to take a quick look at Ubuntu 20.04 here. I actually wasn't planning on taking a look at Unity. That's kind of cool that it was still here. Any of you guys, anything that I could take a look at in either GNOME or Unity if you're curious about 20.04? Yeah, somebody's asking about Unity 8. Oh, they changed the name of Unity 8. Yeah, they call it Lumiri. That is a weird name, but being open source software, what do you expect? I'm not crazy about that name. Lumiri, what does that mean? Does it have a meaning, or is it just a funny name? Yeah, snaps are great. Changed my mind. I would agree that snaps are great, so I don't... I'm not going to try to change your mind, so... And snaps are one of those things, though, they have a purpose. Like when I installed HTOP earlier, HTOP said it had a snap. If I wanted to install it as a snap, why would I install HTOP as a snap? It's a command line interface program. Why? And it's just, why would I need that in a snap pack, in a container? Now, packages, server packages, something like if I was setting up Nextcloud, yeah, makes sense. The snap pack for Nextcloud is fantastic. Right? Because now I don't have to install the LAMP stack. I don't have to worry about installing Apache and configuring Apache and making sure MySQL's is set up, whatever, Nextcloud needs. It's all there in the container. Sudo snap install Nextcloud. Boom, you're done. Right? I'd have to spend half an hour to install a LAMP stack on an Ubuntu server and make sure Apache is straight. Nah, just install the snap. I think a lot of people don't get that with the snaps, that the containers, like if you need, there are some instances where the container makes perfect sense. Yeah. And there's some instances where it doesn't. Like if I was installing that Minesweeper game that we saw earlier, the Sudoku game, and it was available as a snap, why would I want that game in a snap, right? Just give it to me out of the repository. Yeah, snaps are fine until you try to run the find command on root. Snaps are a miss if you don't have to use them. Well, again, the right tool for the right job, right? Snaps and Flatpaks and app images. Like I've mentioned, I use all three. I've got all three on Arco. I've got snaps, Flatpaks, app images, all on my Arco install. And with Arco being Arch based, I can probably find most of that stuff in the Arch repository or in the AUR. Of course, you could always build stuff from source if you needed to as well. But, sometimes every now and then you will come across a package of something, a program that's not in your distro's repositories. And snaps, Flatpaks, app images, they make installing that stuff a lot easier, because if you can't sudo apt install program, but you know it has a snap, then what are you going to do? I won't install that because it's a snap. I don't like snaps. Well, do you want the program or not? Right? At the end of the day, if you need a piece of software, I don't care what package format it's available in. I mean, on my Arco install, I've installed things with Pac-Man, with Yay. I've built stuff from source, snaps, app images, flat packs. I've installed stuff with pip, with gem, with cabal, brew. Like I've installed every package manager in existence. I've installed packages on my current main production machine. Why? It's because if I need to install something and I go to their documentation and it tells me to install it with whatever, I'm going to, if it's something I need, I'm going to install it. I won't install that because it's using that package manager. Oh, come on. It's just, that's people taking things a little too seriously there. Like the people that won't use certain distros because that distro runs systemd. Wow. You must do a lot with your init system, a lot more than I do, because as long as the system boots up, I'm good. Yeah, just use Arch or Debian and you have access to all the software. Well, obviously, Arch and Debian, as far as distros, have most of the packages you're looking for already in their repositories. So, yeah, you shouldn't have to go really looking for a lot of that third-party software. But proprietary programs, you're always going to have to get that somewhere else. Very few Linux distros have proprietary software in their repositories. It's just not something we do. It's Linux is open source. These distros are all licensed under open source licenses. The repositories, the only thing that's going in those is open source programs. So you're never going to find Skype and Discord and Slack and things like that in the Ubuntu repositories or the Fedora repository. That's never going to happen. You're always going to have to go get the snaps, flat packs, app images for that stuff. So if you use a lot of proprietary software on Linux, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with snaps and flat packs. There's no choice. Now, me, I don't use much proprietary software at all. I try to avoid proprietary software, so I don't necessarily have to do snaps, flatpak, app images that often. But sometimes I do find open source programs that are only available in one of those formats, and I have to go grab it. Yeah, who needs Skype? Yeah, Skype. I don't know if anybody really uses Skype anymore. It's really been years since I've heard family members or friends or even mention the word Skype. Seems like that's kind of been replaced with Discord. Like if somebody really wanted to do like a video chat, why the hell would you use Skype? Discord is available in the repositories. Whose repositories? Aaron? It's Aaron in the chat saying Discord is in the repos. Yeah, Discord is available in the AUR. Yeah, but the AUR is not the official Arch repositories. That's just a community repository. Yeah, that's why the AUR exists, because we can package proprietary software and put it in the AUR. Yeah, but that's not the Arch repos. That's not the real. You're not going to find proprietary software in the official Arch repository. Yeah, why Skype when there is OBS for YouTube? I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Ubuntu repositories has it. Well, if they do, they're probably installing it as a snap. I can check real quick. The good thing is, you mentioned in Ubuntu, we have it. So, and if I did a sudo apt install, well, if I can type Discord, yeah. No, it's not there. It does tell you you can snap install Discord. So it tells you, no app package, but snap install Discord would have worked. I'm not going to bother doing that. Yeah, DT, the Discord is in the Arch repositories, is it? Let's see if I can pull up a terminal. Do a quick query in Pacman. Yeah, it looks like it. You're all right. It looks like, yeah, Discord 0.0.10. Yeah. And yeah, it is available in the AUR. Discord is also available as a flat pack. I know that for sure. Yeah. Wow. The Arch guys. We're gonna have to get on them, putting proprietary software in the main repos. Actually, I didn't see what repo that was, because there's actually different repos. There's the core repo, and there's the community repo, and that's not the AUR. I guess they're a little more lax. Well, Arch has always been a little more relaxed as far as proprietary software than some, but I didn't know they were that lax. But the Arch has always been more willing to ship proprietary software than distros like Debian, for example. Debian is staunchly against shipping anything but free software, on their ISO or by default. Fedora is pretty similar too. It's one of those distros, the first thing everybody does is go and enable those third-party repositories, those extra repositories. Yeah, Snap is everywhere. Yeah, it does seem to be growing in popularity, the Snap packs. Let me kill this VM. I think I've done all I want to do with that VM. Get rid of VirtualBox here. It's taking a minute to shut down that VM. There it goes. All right. Let's see if there's anything else we need to take a look at before we go here. I posted this picture last night. This is not my chickens or a picture I took. It's something I've had for a little while. It's all on the internet. Anyway, yeah, these chickens in the spiral. I love it. That's one of the big memes is in Linux especially. We see Debian spirals and we see arches everywhere. Like you can always find those logos, especially the spiral, because there's so many things that appear in nature that use that spiral, like mollusk shells, snail shells, or even astronomical things like, spiral galaxies and plants, often when they bloom, they bloom in spirals. And anyway, you guys had some really funny stuff. Some of it would get me demonetized, but you had a lot of funny comments on the chickens. Yeah. Some of you guys mentioned something about the kernel. Yeah, the Kentucky kernel chicken. One of you guys mentioned, no tucks, no clucks. The funny saying that some Linux users, they won't support a company that doesn't also ship their software as far as a Linux client, like gaming. Maybe you can emulate that game using something like Wine, but if you don't ship an official Linux port, I'm not going to buy your game. So they had this slogan years ago: no tucks, no bucks. And maybe the chickens, their owner, uses Windows, and they're striking, right? Basically telling him, hey, no tucks, no clucks. Let's see what's going on in the Linux world today. Did notice the stock market wasn't doing good today. Those of you in the U.S., our stock market has had a rough week from all the coronavirus scare. People freak out about nothing. But the good thing is, we were due for a correction. So if you were wanting to take a risk, maybe gamble with a little bit of your money, once this thing hits bottom, that's the time to get back in and make a killing. what some of the latest news here, and pulled up Google News and did a quick search for Linux. How to run 2 different Firefox profiles at once. Why would I want to do that? How to install Rust on Linux. Way ahead of you there, Tech Republic. I have several Rust programs. Actually, Alacrity, my terminal, written in Rust. Nothing too interesting. I was looking for something. I mean, this is not even good, like clickbaity articles. This is just like normal stuff. Nobody does good clickbait anymore. Am I the only one that does clickbait? What's wrong with the rest of these folks? Yeah, I love it when I read my YouTube comments sometimes. It's like, hey man, your title and your thumbnail is nothing but clickbait. You think? You think that was an accident? I was like, welcome to YouTube. I guess it's day 1 for you. It's your first time on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, the question is, how long till the bottom as far as the stock market? Yeah, is this short-term bear or maybe will last several years? Nah, I doubt it's anything long-term. But I mean, who knows? But yeah, I wouldn't think this is something that's going to last very long. This is just people freaking out. That's all this is. Because this isn't like a normal correction. This is just, oh, the world's going to end. Let me get all my money out now. So, in a month, you know, when all the news stories and everything kind of subside, people will realize they overreacted and they start putting all their money back in the market. It's weird, these people that they overreact to everything, and we've seen this so many times. With this is not the first new illness that popped up, you know, and oh, it's gonna destroy everything, wipe out humanity, or you know, 2012, you know, the year of the Mayans or whatever, was gonna be the end of the earth, and then what, the year 2000, Y2K. You remember that bug with the computers? Y2K. It's gonna bring every computer down, and the whole world economy was going to collapse, and we were all going to be back in the Stone Ages. I knew people that were stockpiling food and water like that last week of December in 1999. They were getting ready for it. It's like, I was like, I'm not stockpiling anything. Man, you're not going to be ready. And I was like, ready for what? And I was like, do you realize how stupid you sound and how stupid you look right now? But, you know, these people, it's almost like they hope for this stuff to happen. They really wishing, maybe they're just bored with their life and they're thinking of something really horrible happening. Yeah, it'll liven things up a little bit. But, yeah, Joe Panico is in the chat. How you doing, Joe? Yeah, Joe, I still need to do another Xenotic live stream at some point. Get you and Big Pod and anybody that wants to join live in a game. I feel like doing some first-person shooting. And probably won't be this week, but maybe next week, if I feel like doing another live stream next week. Kind of got the itch. I'm ready to do a little more gaming. For somebody that doesn't game very often. Yeah, crazy people who prepped for the year 2000. Yeah, I knew a lot of them. I mean, people stockpiling water and guns and ammo and salt and like everything, like bare essentials. I was like, okay. Not that it's not good to be prepared for anything, but still. Yeah, the last hours of a YouTuber making fun of a deadly virus shortly before getting hit by it. Yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible. I gotta watch where I go, you know, being out in public a lot. Yeah, shooting, I would expect you to be into games that do not involve shooting. I love first-person shooters. Because I don't game that much, they make the most sense as far as they don't take that long. You just get in, play for 10, 15 minutes, and you get back out. You know, role-playing games, you know, massive multi-online games, things those things take weeks or months to, I don't have that kind of time. I'm not getting sucked into a game like that. I refuse. So if I want to play something quick, yeah, it's always going to be a shooter. Yeah, have you thought about making a video on audio on Linux, such as Jack? I've thought about it there. I will tell you that I'm not a big fan of any of the audio servers on Linux. You guys know how I feel about Pulse Audio. I complain about it a lot. Jack has its problems too. I'm just going to tell you, there's no good solution on Linux right now. I have both Pulse Audio and Jack installed on my system. Today I'm using Pulse Audio. Many times when I record, though, I will start Jack and record. Yeah, I've tried them both out a lot. Yeah, both work, and at the same time, both don't work. So, let's see. Yeah, you should play Portal 2 sometime. I don't know anything about Portal 2. Hey, boot up your VM again. You haven't showed everything. This is just a quick video. I was actually going to kill the stream here in a minute. But what did you want to see in the VM? Let's see. Yeah, Herbert says, I had a lot of problems with my audio interface. What audio interface were you using? As far as using like a Scarlett 2i2 audio interface, or now, my Mackie mixer back there, whether I'm using Pulse or Jack or, both work fine. That's usually not the issue. Usually my problems, with something like Pulse is it chooses the wrong inputs sometimes, in different programs, Like if I open up Zoom, and start a video conference, it's not going to choose the right microphone or the right camera or Discord. Sometimes I have problems with Discord. I don't use those programs that often, so that may be part of the problem. Like I open up Discord probably 4 or 5 times a year. So it's not like I'm using it every day. So that may be the issue. Yeah, you want to see Ubuntu GNOME dark mode, so you just want me to change the theme in the VM? Wow, I thought it was something critical. Oh my goodness. Of course, I'm laughing because, I'll be honest, when you mentioned it had a dark theme, I'm kind of curious about it myself, so I do like checking out the themes. Yeah, isn't it beneficial to use a real-time kernel for Jack, like Ubuntu Studio does? That traditionally has been the case, but a lot of the real-time stuff is now actually just kind of baked into the kernel anyway, like the official kernel. So I don't think it's as necessary now. I have a real-time kernel installed on my system, and I have the standard kernel also installed on my system. And again, I sometimes use Pulse, I sometimes use Jack, and I've never seen a difference using either kernel with either Pulse or Jack. So, but again, I think the difference between using a real-time kernel and your standard kernel, there's no real difference now. But a few years ago, there was a difference, like a significant difference. All right, so let's see. I fired up the VM again. Let's see. How do you change themes here? Appearance. I'm assuming. There's the standard. Let's go with the dark. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's not a bad looking dark theme. Now, for my taste, I would prefer it to be even darker. It's still a little too gray for me. I like almost black. I like it to be really dark. I love the icon set, though. That's a sharp looking icon set. Really cool. Show all our hidden files. There's really not very much in this home directory here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We had a crash, though. I notice I'm getting that crash report. Yeah, it is alpha, beta software. I mean, all right. Well, that was the GNOME Dark. Yeah, I'm gonna hit out. It says ALTLYY. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Yeah, I'm actually not gonna be on but a few more minutes. They're probably worth a quick scan of the settings options anyway. Okay, let's solve this once and for all. Are all kernels good for all systems today? Well, I mean, obviously, some people need to compile their own kernel with different modules for specific tasks. I'm not one of those people, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure some people need a specific kernel for a specific task. Yeah, dark mode should be very dark. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should file a bug report. Can somebody file a bug report with Canonical? Yeah, your dark theme looks good, but it needs to be darker. Yeah, what about PeerTube? What about it? You say you dislike blockchain. I'm okay with the technology, blockchain technology. As far as PeerTube, the problem with PeerTube is you have to have your own PeerTube server, and you have to store your own videos on that server. It's not like, YouTube or Library where I don't have to host my own video, right? They take care of it. PeerTube, storage costs. That's why PeerTube has never caught on and will never catch on. Like somebody like me that has as much video content, I can't have my own PeerTube server. It would cost me outrageous amounts of money to host all that video. And of course, I could never get that money back. I could never monetize it in such a way to make it even pay for itself. So, yeah, it's just not. It's not feasible. PeerTube is not an option. People ask about it all the time, and I know why you guys ask about it. I really do. The reason you guys ask about PeerTube, and I see you guys asking everybody about it, is because you don't see anybody using it, and you're frustrated. But you guys, I don't understand. Cost. PeerTube is not free. Now, the software is free, but the server I had to put PeerTube on is not going to be free, and especially those drives that I'm going to fill up with just countless gigabytes of video. Right? It's going to be outrageous in cost. That's the problem with PeerTube. So you guys can just please stop asking me about PeerTube. It's never going to happen. It's just the way it's built, it's not an option. It'll never be an option. Yeah, so you have your orange highlights in your Linux Mint now. So Joe missed Ubuntu, so he had to add some orange to Linux Mint. What do you think about the purple integration? I like the purple better than the orange. But you say the orange was starting to grow on you? Yeah, I miss the brown. Remember, when did they switch to purple? Was that 10.04? But I remember, 9.04, Jaunty Jackalope, and 9.10, Karmic Koala. And those distros were brown. I'm not talking about really brown. And a lot of people hated that brown color scheme of those old versions of Ubuntu. I thought it was pretty sharp looking. And then they switched to the purple. And then everybody, they all hated the purple. And then, well, you didn't like the brown. You wanted them to switch to something. Now you... Yeah, 10.04, Lucid. That's right. It was Lucid Lynx was 10.04. That was a good release. That was pretty much the end of GNOME 2. Well, 10.10 was the last one they released with GNOME 2, but 10.04 was the LTS. That was the death of GNOME 2. That's when GNOME moved on to GNOME 3 right after that. Yeah. Yeah, brown with gray. Yep. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Been on for about an hour and a half. I do apologize for those of you that were here at the beginning. That we actually started the stream about 10 minutes late today because of some issues with the YouTube control panel, if you will, the dashboard thing. You know, they redesigned it. And I don't live stream that often. And I haven't really been using that new control panel of theirs because I've been avoiding it because it's slow and it's buggy, but they're about to get rid of the old one. So today I start the stream and I was like, I'm going to use that new control panel of theirs. And I assume all I have to do is enter my stream key in OBS and hit start streaming in OBS, and boom, I should be magically on YouTube, because that's the way it's always worked in the old control panel. They've changed it now. In this new control panel, you put your stream key in OBS and hit start streaming, but you're not streaming to YouTube just yet. Until you go into the control panel, and in there, you click a button that says go live, and then, so you actually have to hit start streaming in OBS and go live in YouTube, otherwise, you're not streaming. Just makes no sense. Why am I hitting two buttons to do that? Why not just, when I start streaming in OBS, I'm streaming on YouTube? I don't know why they made that change. It makes no sense. But for 10 minutes, I was confused because OBS says I'm streaming, but I'm not actually live on YouTube. I don't know where I'm streaming to. I'm streaming to outer space or something, but it wasn't on YouTube. So. DT, have you tried StreamYard? I have joined other people's streams that have used StreamYard. It doesn't look that great, to be honest. If I was looking for a free and open source chat client, video chat client, Jitsi is probably the one I would use. Jitsi's okay. It's not great either, but it's probably the best option. You don't mind proprietary software, Zoom is really the best. Yeah. Oh no, I messed up my video I made on OBS then. Yeah. Josh, I've been avoiding that new control panel in YouTube ever since they switched it over, and the new one, everything's out of place. And it's slow. Some of the pages, the analytics and everything, they load so slow. Like I'll click on something and I'll wait 3 or 4 seconds, and if the page hasn't loaded, you know what? I don't even want the page to load anymore. I'm already moving on to something else. This gets back to all the static websites. You guys know I've been playing with Hugo. My website over at distro.tube.com is completely static. Doesn't use JavaScript. Doesn't use PHP. Doesn't use a database. No MySQL. And it loads fast. And I like it. Now imagine the other end of the spectrum. Way on the other end of the spectrum is the new YouTube. It's just slow and bloated as hell. And no, when I talk about bloat, it's not a meme. Bloat is a real thing. Yeah, OBS can be hard to use. Yeah, when you first start using OBS, there's a lot to it because you open the settings and there's a ton of stuff in it. But really, most of the settings in OBS you never need to play with. Unless you have a reason to. Most of it. You don't need to do anything with. If you're having a problem with OBS, though, I have made some I know I've made at least one video for sure, maybe 2 videos on OBS. Just basic stuff on how to set up OBS, create scenes in OBS, like my scenes here, I have the graphics and, different things, whatever it is I want to do here in OBS. Yeah. Yeah, I could look more like Sheldon than Mr. DT with that mug in my hand. You need the by the way, I use Arch. Why don't you RTF him? Right. I need to create some new mugs, on my Teespring. I haven't actually even logged into Teespring in probably a year. I haven't done anything with it. We need to get some new gear because I need some new mugs too. I really like the arch mug. I need to do something different though. I might do that this weekend. That's something that, since it's been a while since I've done it, I wouldn't mind, creating some new artwork in GIMP or something, and creating some new coffee mugs, especially being a coffee drinker. Need to order some anyway. Yeah, in OBS you were able to go live and you didn't need to confirm you were going live in YouTube. Yeah. And you still don't if I would have logged into the classic YouTube studio, but I logged into the new one today. And I didn't realize that they were different. So I started streaming and I'm talking for a couple minutes and I look over, nothing's happening on YouTube. Luckily, I was previewing the stream. So then I couldn't figure out the problem because you wouldn't think there's a second button to go live. I was thinking it's got to be a stream key that's the problem. So I'm looking at my stream keys, making sure I've got the right key in OBS. Yeah, Joe says, yeah, you need to put some merchandise on your website app. That's another thing. I actually need to do a lot with that website. I haven't done much with it. That might be something I do this weekend too. I know some of you guys that do visit the website on occasion have mentioned I don't have RSS links on the website. Yeah. Hugo does actually have built-in RSS. I just need to create the links for the pages. And that really wouldn't take 5 minutes for me to do that. It's just I haven't got around, I got a list of stuff I need to do. So, yeah. I'm going to do this live stream today, obviously. I've got a video planned for tomorrow. And we may take a day or two off. I don't know. Been hitting it pretty hard on YouTube and in life. Might take a day. Maybe take Saturday off. Go do something fun. The weather's turning really nice right now. It's like 70, 80 degrees. It's pretty weather. Feel like going outdoors and doing something. Yeah, Herbert says, Distro Watch is yours, right? No, definitely not. That's funny. Yeah, that's not my website. All right, guys. Well, let me get out of here. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. There's still about 300 of you guys hanging out here this late. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. A couple of hundred of you still here in the YouTube chat. Of course, before I go, need to thank the patrons of the channel. These guys, they help support my work over on Patreon. Without these guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So, sincere thank you to each and every one of these ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. Take care. Peace.